think I say 10 o'clock is a good time if you want to give them the draws. Hey, what is up? This was a great episode 119. I'm really happy about how it turned out. Lots of information, really information heavy episode. Lots of stuff from my guts. I share some messages and don't share messages, but I'll talk about some messages I received from a few listeners. Give a couple shout outs, give a lots of information, some articles. We got a bunch of really stuff. I think really good stuff to get into. I'm looking forward to going back and listening to this again, see what the fuck I said, see if it makes any fucking sense. Hopefully it does, but definitely stick around, definitely listen to it, and enjoy. Hey! What's up, everyone? Hopefully you're watching me this time compared to what happened on the last episode. So I've been checking my phone/camera time and time again while setting up, and I'm probably going to take several breaks during the podcast this time just to make sure everything is hunky-dory. But we are here for episode. In the meantime, while let me just drink so I don't get all paranoid about this thing. But before I do, again, if you are watching this on YouTube and you don't know what the fuck happened to the previous episode, first I'd recommend you go back and listen to episode 118. At the beginning, I explained that there was a technical issue and we didn't have any video for the last episode, and hopefully this one is okay. But hey, cheers to you guys. Got a Heineken. Again, working my way through the case that I bought. We got a great episode in store for you. I got a few shout outs. Listeners, dare I say it, community. Can I say I got a community? Well, I don't know. Okay, well, I'll fucking say it. The Japan according to Akil community is rising up. By that I mean 2 people. But no, seriously, I got an email from another listener that really, really made my day. Angela, again, thank you. A personal shout out. Thank you. I replied to you via email. Again, questionsforkeel@gmail.com. I gotta say it now so that hopefully more people will fucking message me. But really, really, really appreciate you taking the time out to email me and let me know about Japan a bit. Looking forward to hearing from you more. Looking forward to hearing the story. Hopefully she'll have a bit of information for us that we can incorporate into one of the future episodes. Again, no pressure, whenever you got time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it personally. I want to hear it. It sounds really juicy, really interesting, really Japan-esque. But yeah, so that'll be good. Of course, Rod, sending me several messages. Just to let everyone know, I'd been not feeling like myself the past couple of days, just physically, emotionally, the whole nine, just kind of dragging through the days a bit. Not like depressed or anything, but just, I've said it before, like, pretty much a bit of one of my main goals during this time is to keep my family moving at a steady pace, and making sure everyone is up and active and in good spirits and things like that. So I'm putting a lot more energy into that on a daily basis. So that, every now and then you go in waves. We all go in waves. So I was kind of hitting a little bit of a sluggish point. So, my other work, I haven't been doing any editing with that. I haven't uploaded a video for Japanese people in like 2 weeks, and even though I'm halfway through it, but just time-wise, energy-wise, schedule-wise, it just wasn't clicking. Same thing with recording here, replying to emails and things like that. I'm not like depressed or anything like that, but just, physically and emotionally just needed a little time out to regroup and gather. Last night I wanted to do something, but like I kind of got like a headache, and so I just was like, fuck it, just took the night off, watched some TV for a little bit, ate some food, no alcohol, no nothing, And today I feel fucking great. So that's what I'm like, fuck, we gotta record, we gotta do this. And Angela, did bland bless me, sprinkled a little happiness sprinkles on me. I was like, boom, cool. So definitely in a good mood to record tonight. We got a really good one for you guys. I got tons of fucking notes. I got notes for days. I got notes for days, 2 pages of notes. Rod gave me some, just catching up, rereading some of his emails from a few days ago. Gave me some good topics for this time, plus some things going on here and around Tokyo to catch you guys up on. So we got a lot of good stuff. I got several beers in the fridge just in case I need them. Alright, fuck that. Let me check this fucking recording one more time. Okay, good. Alright, we're still recording. Alright, I'm gonna just roll the dice and say fuck it and just, hopefully this shit stays on the whole time. Alright, man, so let's just get into it. Let's get into it. Alright, so first off, I want to start with the news of the day here in Japan, which didn't really make major waves, but I won't tell you exactly how I know, but I know someone very, very close to this issue, which is the casino issue here in Japan. And one of the major casinos has officially backed out of, their bid to build a casino here in Japan for a lot of different reasons. But pretty much there's an article attached to, in the description, wherever format you're watching this on. Pretty much, it just seems like they're saying that it's not worth it. The Japanese government, the incentives or the rules and regulations set forth by the Japanese government aren't really conducive to, a profitable business venture for these people. And I would imagine also a little bit of Corona sprinkled on there doesn't help either. If you think about, possibly even if the thing does go forward, possibly not being able to start production, construction for about a year, and then the delays and questions as far as tourism goes and the Olympics and things like that. It just doesn't seem like it's really viable. So one person dropped out, and so now the person I know close to the issue is basically telling me that the whole casino in Japan situation is very much in flux right now. We're not, it's going to remain to be seen whether the remaining companies bidding for different sites or different cities actually go through with their plans, or stick to it, or everyone just says, man, fuck it, this shit ain't even worth it. Especially because I would even think, like, the casino business, like all across, and pretty much every country you go to, is going to be kind of hurting for a while. So it might be more of like, well, fuck it, if it's not really looking like it's going to be like a home run, and we kind of a little bit cash strapped now, let's just like call it quits, cut our losses right now, and focus on like home base and shit like that. So that's kind of the news that broke today. Again, check it out in the article. I'm waiting for that impact or to really spread and hit, and see what comes of it. But it kind of feels and sounds like might go in that direction where it might not happen. I was looking personally, I don't really gamble. I officially gambled in a casino one time for like 5 minutes, because I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I get really competitive. Actually, I'm a real laid back kind of guy, but I'm like a 0 or 100 type of person in a lot of things I do. I've kind of settled and realized like that is the healthiest way for me to live my life. Let me say that, because either I have to completely cut off like my emotion of caring about something, otherwise I get really, really wrapped up, especially competitive things. Not with other people. Well, yeah, sometimes with other people. Like yeah, I do. If I'm motivated to win, like I want to fucking win. Like, and I get really, really, really fired up about shit like that. So I got purposely sometimes like I have to just say fuck it. I don't give a fuck, because otherwise I know like I'm gonna go overboard. And gambling is one of those things. I fucking hate losing money. Like I hate it. And like I mean, if I'm spending money, if I say okay, this money I'm gonna spend it for a purpose, I'm fine with it. But just the whole thing about gambling is there's a possibility to win, and so I want to fucking win, and so the only time I went to a casino, I did play slots, and when I was in college with some friends, they went to the slots, and I gambled for 5 minutes, like literally. Of course, I was a broke ass college student, of course, but out of my friends, I was the brokest one. But I literally played the slots. I remember I think I played like 3 or 4 times. I lost, got a little angry, lost, won, lost, and I think won again. The last one, like I won a little bit more, and I broke even, like a dollar. I lost $1, and then I broke even at $1, and I was just getting so pissed off the times I was losing, and I was just like, okay, I gotta stop right now. You broke even, you're fine. And then like my other friends were gambling, running around, and I was just like had to just walk around for like an hour, waiting for them to finish. I was just so bored, just like fuck. Um, just because like I would have to just take a now as an adult, like if I went to a casino, I literally have to just like say, okay, this money, I don't give a fuck what happens to it. I'm gonna just blow it all. I'm losing it all. I'm burning it. I'm throwing it away. Whatever the fuck I want. I'm having fun with it, and then I might be able to enjoy myself. But definitely, if I got to the point where I was winning, I'd have to just stop. But just like casually playing or gambling, I really can't do that. Betting someone, I can't really do that. Yeah, it's just not. It doesn't. It's not a good thing at all. um, hmm. Which might be one of the reasons why, like again, after the initial, if you heard me talk about pachinko here in Japan, after that initial honeymoon phase of me in Japan wore off, I just never had the desire to play it, just because if I did know the rules and know what the fuck I was doing, I'd just be pissed off. Okay, so yeah, anyway, check that article out if you want. It's going to be in the description. Next up, okay, I talked about Angela. Okay, we got some deeper topics. Okay, fuck. So, at first, I had an article pulled up. Let me pull it up here. At first, I had an article pulled up, but I decided to change things a bit because I realized like it was an article that I talked about before on a previous episode, and Angela, your email like and everything got me really. And I think 2 episodes ago, it was like guys talk. I was really focused on that, so I was like, I want to do something for the ladies, Um, so what I did was tried to pull up. Again, there's not as much. You can probably imagine there's not as much information about women wanting to date Japanese, advice for women dating Japanese men as there is for men dating women. And I ain't gonna be searching around for all this shit. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna be searching for dating tips for Japanese guys for you guys. Okay, I'm just not gonna be doing that much. I found like a YouTube video that looked interesting, but it was like 15 minutes long. And I'm like, I ain't doing that shit. Sorry, but I did find one article that's not too long, and it does have a few tips that I think I can expand upon. It's only 4 fucking tips, but I was like, really, just 4? That's all you got for? That's all these ladies got is 4? Well, I mean, men are actually kind of simple, so I don't blame them. I'm always telling my wife like, I'm fucking simple, man. It's not that complicated. And she's like, yes, it is. I'm like, fine. Okay. All right. Anyway, so dating tips, dating Japanese man tips and common rules. Again, I'm just going to. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't read this fucking article. I just looked at the main points, and then I'll just try to expand on it. And if you want, you can go ahead and dig a little deeper on it. And of course, contact me if you have any questions. So number 1, pay close attention to what he says. Now, I think this is pretty much important. What he just just scanning through it, what foods he likes, what kind of place he often hangs out with, etc., so that you can offer something in his taste or something like that. And I would say that's really important. It's really important here in Japan that you show that, it's like cheesy shit. Like, it might sound cheesy, but making a concerted effort to show the person that you remember and you're paying attention to things that they've talked about or that they like or are interested in is a really important thing. It can be something that's really, really small and simple to you, but in Japan, it's like a huge, big deal. Like, especially if you're just starting to date someone, like, if a person mentions like a hamburger, place that they like, and you ask to meet them, in some random area, and then they're like, why? And then you say, because I remember you like this hamburger place, and there's this fucking hamburger place in this area. They'll fall in love with you. Like, shit like that is what, especially, I would say, especially Japanese guys really like, because in general, I hate to sound mean saying this, but not an Oedipus complex, but okay. There's a lot of mama's boys here in Japan, right? And being catered to by a woman is a really important. Taken care of by a woman is kind of a really important thing here in Japan, a lot more than in the West. You know, it is kind of old school. No, I was gonna say ass backwards, but it is kind of old school. And if you've heard me talk about it, the relationship between men and women, parents and kids in the past, on the surface it might seem like men dominate everything, and actually in some ways they do, but women do give them their comeuppance in other ways. But in the courtship process of things, I would say if you find a guy that you like, and you've kind of gotten past the initial phase of talking, and maybe you might date or something like that, unless they're really experienced dating foreign women, you're going to have to, fall back on yourself a little bit, and really put your okay. When I was single, one thing I did when dating, what I think is universal with Japanese people, is I made the person comfortable with the fact that I was a foreign person. By what that means is I tried my best to like, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. It's okay because blah 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 blah. Not with my words, but with my actions. Sometimes with my words too. Like, in being the guy, we're on the hunt. But like, oh, a person's like, oh, I can't speak English, and like, oh no, it's okay. I'm an English teacher. Haha. It's like, do you like carrots? No, I don't like carrots. Oh, I don't like carrots either. They're orange. They're bad. Stupid shit like that. And it worked. But what I'm saying is, like, as far as being a woman goes, like, bridging the gap, a lot more. You're gonna have to do that a lot more. I'd say dealing with Japanese guys, like in the West, guys tend to bridge the gap with women a lot more, right? I mean, in the past, like nowadays, I don't fucking know about dating, especially if you're younger. I don't know what the fuck y'all be doing, but in the past, like, it's a guys were more of the hunters, women more of the facilitators in general, right? And in Japan, if you're not really and I think, like, from looking back on things, like my female coworkers and people I knew who weren't flexible with that, they kind of had that more of a hardline stance. Well, I'm not fucking doing that shit. I'm a woman. He should do da 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 with me. Those are the ones who became the most frustrated with their love life in Japan. People who were a bit more flexible, who were just like, look, fuck it, I like this guy, and I'm trying to get laid. Those are the people that tended to have a bit more success, right? And again, this is all pretty much before apps and stuff, shit like that, which is total game changer, which I'm not even sticking my toe in at all. But I would say if you are meeting people and you do find someone that you like, on that second, maybe third date, if you get to that point, you're gonna have to kind of listen and kind of you're gonna have to appeal and show the person that, hey, I'm into you, I'm listening to what you're saying, because you kind of have to make that person feel comfortable. You have to make that person feel comfortable enough around you to take the lead in a lot of situations. And that's something that I would say in general Japanese men don't do. Either they overcompensate in a weird ass way in the beginning, or they just take a complete back seat and won't do anything unless they're 100% confident, right? It is a lot of like all or nothing kind of here that you're going to have to adjust to. That delicate dance of meeting someone and feeling each other out doesn't really happen as naturally as it would in your home country, right? So just take that into consideration. All right, number 2, read between the lines. Yeah. This is gonna be something that, like rarely are seen arguing or yelling at each other. Like you're really gonna have to fucking read between the lines. Like, and yeah, public displays of affection. Like if you want to hold hands with someone and they get uncomfortable, or you want to kiss or something like that, and they might not want to. It's not because they don't want to. They're just really embarrassed about doing it. And again, you might have a dude who might just try and climb all over you in public in a weird way, because he thinks like, yeah, I don't fucking know, he's a fucking weirdo. But if there's like a really nice guy who really likes you, he probably won't do that. If there is a guy who does do that, you'll know. If he acts like a fucking douchebag, then I just say don't fucking waste your time with him. Pretty much is the way to go. I mean, unless you're just on a drunken night and we all have those nights where, hey, you in the club and you just like, you know what, I'm just trying to get laid. In those situations, then go for it. But if you're on like a regular date, you're going to have to read between the lines as far as what the person is actually feeling and doing, and understand that. And a lot of times you might not be able to read between the lines, especially in the beginning, and understand exactly what the person is thinking, but you just gotta go with it anyway. Don't worry, that relates to something else I talked to. Number 3, which is really important, especially for a woman, is to be subtle. Like, I would say my advice to a woman dating a Japanese guy would be to be overly obvious. Be overly obvious, right? Be overly obvious and overly coy would be like, I would say something that, like you would be surprised at like shit that you would think is just natural flirting comes across as really aggressive and assertive to a Japanese dude, the average Japanese dude, looking at him in the eye, staring at him and smiling, are things that they're just not accustomed to really. And there might be signs that you might, should like, yo, I'm giving him all the signs, what the fuck, but he just doesn't have the confidence to really act on that. Again, unless he's lived abroad, unless he's used to dealing with foreign women, he just might not be comfortable with that. So, you're gonna have to wait. Honestly, you're just gonna have to wait him out. And I would say like open-ended, without getting too dirty, like open-ended questions, like okay, I think I'm trying to figure out how the fuck I say this. All right, dance around the topic, right? Is what I would say. So like, okay, we're all adults here. We better all be adults. Like, there better not be like a 14-year-old listening to this shit, okay? But we're all adults. Let's say, for example, you want to invite a dude back to your place, right? Let's just say this. my advice would be, you've been dating them for, you went on like several dates. Hopefully, it's not like a one night stand or something. Whatever your number is, if it's 2, 3, 4, 10, whatever. Um, you know, you're not going to. I would say if you're the average, my image of the average Japanese dude, if you asking him, "Hey, do you want to come over?" like or waiting for him to ask if he can come over, you're going to be waiting for a long time, right? But for example, um, doing something like, you know, inviting him to a restaurant near your place. And this is like the standard Japanese thing to do, right? Inviting him to a restaurant or izakaya or something near your place or near his place or something like that, you know. Again, dance around the topic, not say, hey, I want to go to your place, but, hey, where area do you live? Da, 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 da. Oh, I always wanted to go to that area. We should hang out near there. And if you make the time of that meeting very late, right? Like, is 10 o'clock at night okay for you? Why is, like I say 9:30, like 10 o'clock, I say is a really good time just to make that, if that special night where the magic is right. Hmm. Hmm. That, I think I say 10 o'clock is a good time if you want to give them the draws. Give 'em the- because what 10 o'clock is very, very close to your last train. That's what it is, right? And as a dude would understand, if you say like near my place, near his place, Japanese people understand what that scenario means, right? What that means is, a date's not gonna last an hour. It's gonna be like 11:32. It's gonna be like about 2 hours at least, right? General average date. 2 hours. If you start at 10, 2 hours is gonna be midnight. An hour and a half is gonna be 11 something. So just when you start having fun, relaxing, hey, depending on the place that you go to, it might be last call, last order. Oh, I don't, or oh, my last train is coming soon. Oh, my last train is coming in a few minutes, and then just shut the fuck up. And then like, maybe like, oh, I'd like some coffee or something like that. It's generally how things go, and then the guy will feel like, okay, I have enough confidence to be sure that you want to come over, or be sure that they can stay over, or something like that, or like if you invite the guy near your area, for example, and he comes over, and like, um, basically just don't say any, just don't say anything until right when or just after his last train comes. It's like, oh, it's like a Netflix and chill thing. Like, oh shit, oh, your train's gone. Oh no, fuck. Well, hey, maybe we can go to karaoke, go to karaoke or do something else, or something like that, and then naturally things might progress from there. But definitely be subtle and dance around the topic, as much as possible. Get near to it, but don't don't stare at it, if that means anything to you, because Japanese people just don't directly address those type of things. Okay, and number 4. Oh, this is such a sweet thing. Be you, be yourself. But no, I think that is important too. Mm, in your dealings with Japanese men, especially in a dating type situation, there are going to be cultural differences, and um, yeah, like trying to be like a Japanese girl is not going to work, right? Um, Even if the guy kind of on the surface wants you to be like a Japanese girl, it's not going to work, right? At some point, he's going to have to accept the fact that you're not Japanese, and on a deeper level, right? Even if he knows on the surface, but he's going to have to accept that. And, you're going to have to accept that his cultural norms are very different from yours. You're just going to have to accept that. But making it kind of clear again, in a very calm and subtle way, what you expect from the relationship, what you need from a relationship is very important, right? And again, you might get a guy who's like, yeah, 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 okay, okay, yeah, 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 because he wants to draw us, or because he's happy that he's with you in the beginning. Is a possibility as well, but excuse me, I have seen international couples it worked out where a foreign woman and a Japanese guy, and in all of those situations, from what I can tell, she's kind of not asserted like I'm a fucking woman, damn, respect me, bitch, not like that, but like, made it clear about the things that she wants, needs, expects from him, and he was able to understand that. And I would say that's something that I would recommend you do as well in your possible wheelings and dealings with Japanese guys. Again, there's no set template for it. You just gotta roll with it. But I do think taking those tips will definitely help you out there. Okay. All right. So hopefully that was something for you ladies. So don't get all pissed off at me for just talking guy shit. Okay. I'm trying to help y'all get some loving too. Okay. Where's my fucking list? All right. Hold on. Let me check this thing. Okay, good. Still recording. Okay. All right. So that's that. Okay. So Rod gave me. I think we got a pretty good podcast tonight. Rod sent me a few things. The next one I want to get into. He asked me in an email about any concerns that I might have with my son growing up as a mixed child in Japan in the future. Just we were going back and forth about a few things. He sent me an email, and that was one of the things that popped up. And I think it's a great question, and I think about it quite a bit. Not only being mixed, but also especially being black. Right, it is one thing because black culture in and of itself has a lot of nuances in history and things, even in current times, issues that we have to deal with. And it is something I think about quite a bit, especially with my son, because he's growing up in Japan. And he's grown up in Japan, he's not really aware of his race yet. Like he's it's amazing me watching him. Like the other day I was just like, you're just like a little fucking kid. You're not like a little black boy, you're not anything, you're just a fucking kid, you're just doing your thing. It's amazing. One of my biggest concerns with my son for the future is not so much about Japan, is preparing him for dealing with life when he goes to America. When he's old enough to move around by himself, when he's like a teenager or a young adult, he's not going to be seen as Japanese. He's going to be seen as black. And I'm, psychologically preparing him for whatever he has to deal with from the social issues America has, from the other black community and things like that is one of my main concerns, just because there are dangers and issues that could be life threatening, freedom threatening in America that he's not going to be used to dealing with in Japan, and especially as a male. And so I'm gonna definitely in his teens, I'm gonna have to work with him a lot on that. But right now as a kid, I'm not trying to spoon feed him any of that, because yeah, it's important. Yeah, it's relevant, but it can also weigh you down. And I want him to have a base of pride and confidence in who he is first, and then expose him to some of the greater issues, but not let those issues burden him. You know what I'm saying? Like not let him feel weighed down by them. Internally in Japan, I think like let me drink some more beer for this. I think like we gotta think about it like this. Like, my son's 3 years old now, So he's gonna be of working age in about 20 years. 2020, 2040. He's gonna be, entering the workforce. Let's say, for example, right? The world is going to be completely different during that time. Like fucking, I was listening to Elon Musk's talk about the Neuralink chip going in your brain and connecting you directly to the internet, all this shit and universal language popping up and all this crazy shit that he's going to be exposed to, and that's going to be his reality. Just like me as a fucking college student, I couldn't imagine like fucking smartphone that I'm recording this shit on and accessing the internet and doing all this shit, I can't even fathom what he's going to be dealing with in the world in 20 years. So the demographics of Japan as well, there's going to, especially in the Tokyo area, there's going to be a lot more, there's going to be not only first generation mixed kids, there's going to be second generation and third generation mixed kids especially this area. So the main thing I want him to do is, I talk now. My main work is not so much with him; it's with my wife and her family. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry about that. Is getting them to understand that don't. And I'm gonna tell my son, makes this very clear to my son. Like, don't treat him like a regular Japanese kid. And I'm saying this in a good way. Like, he's not a regular Japanese kid, Like, you can line up, like, he's got his class, his kindergarten class. He's not the same as all the kids in his class. Yes, he's Japanese, but you're doing him a disservice trying to treat him exactly the same as all of the other kids in his class. He's not, and he knows he's not. Even if he's not aware of it 100%, growing up, he's going to understand that something is different from him and those other kids. And trying to convince him that there's not is, I think, what makes kids a complex. I'm gonna be like, look, for me, you're black, okay, and then you're also Japanese. You have two distinct sides with you, and your job is to understand where you lie in both of those. Some people on both sides might think that you're not enough of each one. Personally, I think, and you should think that you have an advantage of either side. You're double. You can do things that either side can't do. So you, and also understand that with that comes a responsibility. The way I think about it, I was thinking about this today, is he, especially growing up in Japan, he's going to shine wherever he goes. And he can shine in a good way or he can shine in a bad way. But he's gonna shine. Like when you walk into a classroom, he's gonna be the first person everyone looks at. Whether they say, oh, he's cool, oh, he's so well-mannered or whatever, or they say, or, something bad happens and they point to him first. That's just something he's gonna have to deal with. And for him not to think of it as a burden and want to blend in. And that's what I noticed too. Was a little bit disheartening for me, I see like mixed kids, some half Japanese kids, and I could tell when they see me or something like that, they kind of like shy away or like, oh fuck, like, something like that. And I understand that feeling. And sometimes back in the day, I kind of felt that way, especially after I moved out of my hometown. But what I learned and I want to instill in my son is like, don't shy away from those feelings. Embrace that. Especially if you're around your friends and your friends see another black guy or something like that, and they're like, oh, look at another black guy, oh, it's your brother or something like that. Like, yo, he's my brother, hey, what's up? Like, be that person, shine, and then people won't mess with you about it. And actually you can shine in both ways, because especially if he can be good with it, where he can be completely Japanese and flow with the other side of himself, he'll know what he is. Like, I just want him to know who he is and not let people put him off center, right? If he can do that, if I could raise him to do that, he'll be fine, right? And then when he becomes like a teenager or older and starts to move around and things like that, then I'll kind of need to introduce a bit more of like African American history, like Caribbean history. My parents are from the Caribbean and things like that, which is a slippery slope. It's a tricky kind of thing. I don't really know how I'm gonna do it. Like, I just gotta kind of feel it out, but That's kind of my game plan for now. But at least for these next few years, I just want him to be a kid. I just want him to be himself and just instill confidence in him, which he has, which I'm so happy for. And as he interacts with people, there's gonna be bumps in the road and stuff, but I'm kind of want to instill with him: don't run from it, don't hide from it. You can't hide from it, and you don't want to hide from it because you're special. And if you're special, special people should not strive to be normal. Special people should not strive to be mundane, and because you can't anyway, so you might as well just embrace it. Is kind of what I want to say to him and anyone else who's listening to this, and the fact that Japan at this present point in time doesn't embrace the special, doesn't embrace the unique, doesn't embrace continuity yet completely, is of course a disservice to the country, but it's understandable. And he also needs to understand that, be able to understand that as well, and be the bigger person in a lot of situations. Again, it's like Peter Parker, man. Fucking Uncle Ben, with great power comes great responsibility. And I'm kind of want to, it's a lot to put on a kid, but I think he can handle it. He's a really mature kid, so I think he can handle it. Kids are like that. Like, they're, whatever you give them, they can take, right? So I think, like, if I openly, honestly, directly let him know what's going on and open up a line of communication where he's like, yo, you can ask me and talk to me about anything, I think he'll be alright. I got confidence in him. So that's kind of how I'm handling that one. But yeah, the bigger issue for me, the bigger unknown for me, is when he's like a teenager, if he wants to go to college in America and stuff like that. That's the elephant in the room for me. Being like, okay, you can go to the club for the first time. Fuck. Like, oh, you want to drive. Oh, shit. Like, okay, all right, you want to hang out with your cousins now. Okay. Fuck. Like, so that's something I'm going to have to just prepare myself for and prepare my wife for, just because there's a lot that comes with it. So, but I don't know. It is what it is. So that's that. All right. Okay, we got one more topic. I saved the best for last, of course. So another thing, our main man Rod proposed, which is again a great idea, which it took us a few minutes to do it, was people coming to Japan or moving to Japan, to rules of thumbs, which I named Rules to Thrive in Japan. It's not really a great title, but whatever. I only thought of it like a few minutes. Okay. All right. So I wrote down a list of a few things. Some of it you might have heard me say before. Some of the things I'm just piggybacking on some shit. But whatever. Fuck it. Let's just get into it. Okay. I drank a lot less than I thought I would tonight. But it's good. Like, lots of talking, lots of shit, information. I'm happy with the way this episode is going. So all right. So I'm just blast through these and we'll get out of here. All right. So here first, and again, part of this is for you, Angela, too. If you're thinking about coming to Japan, study Japanese early and often is probably the one thing. If I could go back in time and change one thing, that would be it. I didn't start studying Japanese until my second year in this country. And, even now, like, I haven't been studying Japanese for like 5 years. My grammar is complete shit now, but listening I'm fine and stuff like that, and I can do whatever I want to do. But just if you're even thinking about coming to Japan, studying Japanese is key. And not only studying Japanese, my advice would be strive for the Japanese language test, the JLPT. If you don't know what that is, JLPT is what it's going to be. It's 5 levels to that test. I don't care if you're thinking about coming in 3 or 4 years. Focus, put your energy on that test is what I would tell you. It's like TOEIC, and the Japanese equivalent of TOEIC. The reason why, because all of your independent study before you come to Japan is going to amount to bullshit. I'm sorry, it is. It's going to be like, you're going to get here, but like, I've been studying Japanese for 3 years, and you get here and people are going to shit on you in like 2 seconds. You're like, oh fuck, I don't know anything, because you just don't. like I've kind of realized that with the students I teach as well. I tell them like, look, you can practice English with me here all you want to, but it's not gonna equate you to your skills living abroad. Like, I can like I can give you warm you up, get you as much as practice as you can get, but it's not a one-to-one experience as when you get the real thing, because they're not teachers and they don't live in Japan and they're not going to accommodate you. So don't think, oh, because I can communicate with my English teacher that I could just go abroad and it's gonna be all good. It's not. It's not. It's not. Same thing here in Japan, because like you can fucking read hiragana and katakana. No, it's not. So, but the learning, it will shorten the learning curve for you so much. Like, for example, if you can, I would even say, like, realistically, N3 is 4 levels, it's 5 levels now of the test. N5, N4, N3, N2, N1, which is like, I passed up to N2 of the test, and I just stopped. I wasn't going for N1. Maybe sometime in the future, and when I have time to like actually brush up on my Japanese skills again, I would like to, take the test again and go after N1 just for a personal goal. It would be nice, but yeah, I would say before coming to Japan, striving for N4 realistically would be good. If you could pass N3 before coming to Japan, you would come here and just be great, already. You would just hit the ground completely running. But even N4, and then within your first year of Japan, striving for N3, I think would be a good goal, personal goals to have for yourself, just because like your communication skills would be so much more, and it would make just every other aspect of your life a lot easier here in Japan. Mating. I was gonna say mating and dating. Jeez, dating and just meeting people and everything. So that study early and often would be a rule of thumb, definitely. Next one. This one I learned. I might have said this before. I learned this from one of my students. He's was a really eccentric dude. Like, I haven't talked to him in years. He's a really eccentric guy. I hope he's doing well. But he, there. I'll tell you this. Maybe I've told you this story before. I don't remember. But where I used to live, the area I used to live, it was like right near a train station. And when I walked outside my building, and then like the next building over on like a corner was this fruit stand. It was this old dude who was in the fruit stand. So I have to pass this thing every fucking day, several times a day. And this dude would always just scowl at me. I even bought fruit from this guy sometimes. He would just look at me like all mean and angry. And I was just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, he was just like an intimidating old dude. And I talked to my student about this, and he was like, oh, no, he's fine. Here's what you do. He told me, here's what you do. In the morning, when you see him, Ohayou gozaimasu, good morning. Afternoon, konnichiwa, good afternoon. Evening, konbanwa, good evening. That's it. Do that every time you see him. If it's the morning, say good morning. If the afternoon, say good afternoon. Evening, say good evening. And smile at him. That's it. Do that. You'll be completely cool with him. I did that shit in like a week. This dude the old guy completely changed. He was just like, oh, hey, what goes on? We became like best buddies. Like we started talking about shit, and I was buying pomegranates from this dude, and like, fucking like, it was, he just basically explained to me that, that's like manners in Japan is really important. And so people's image of you completely changes once, if you just say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I have some neighbors here, and, like going back to my previous point about my son, same thing now. Like, I'm in the house a lot more. I'm walking I got a dog, walking my dog, taking my son out and stuff like. So I'm seeing neighbors a lot more. Everyone's home now, so we're the black family, There's actually a few other black families, like not in this direct neighborhood, but in the general area. But still, like, generally speaking, like in my area, I'm the black guy. Everyone knows it. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody, whether they like it or not. whether they, sometimes I can feel people like, hey, or not. But that's what you do, and that gives a good impression of people in Japan. A smile, a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, a bow. That's all you. That's all you need. And if you do that every time, you'll make your life in Japan so much easier. Especially if you combine that with some skills, or people start small talk. Oh, where are you from, or something like that. Trust me, it's gold. Next, joining a group as an outsider. This is a little bit a deeper skill. If you want, let's say I don't know, let's go with kimonos for example, or whatever the fuck, I don't know, whatever the fuck you're into, right? Um, Joining a group like of Japanese people, whatever interest or hobby or whatever, is a delicate process, and it's something that you have to understand a few things. First thing, understand like you're always gonna be seen as an outsider. Always, you're never gonna you're never gonna get equal status in that group, which is fine, right? If you can accept that, I think you'll be fine. Um, Two, remember you're always gonna shine. So um, you can shine in a positive way or a negative way. And three, I would say, for me, I think of Japan and groups in Japan is like the fucking mafia, right? Like it is. It's like the mafia. Like once you get in, you're never getting out. You can't get out. It's kind of like that, right? If you think about it that way, you can't jump in and jump out. Is what I mean. Like you can't be like, hey, I want to come this time. I'm not in the mood this time. I'll be there this time. Really? No, I kind of don't want to do that. No, no. If you're in it, you're in it. And if you keep that type of mentality, you'll be accepted into the group. Again, not as a complete member, but as kind of like an honorary member. Is I think the closest you can get is the honorary member, right? Status. To be completely accepted as a member is something that I've never seen someone do. Even if you get that honorary member status, on the surface you might be as equal as someone else, but in small ways you still get a little bit special consideration. But everyone's comfortable with you in the group. No one's kind of on, not on edge, but like, oh, there's a person. Everyone's like, hey, you're kind of associated with the group, and that comes with, you heard me say it, with responsibility. Being a guest. The earthquake. Yeah, not so strong. It wasn't so strong. It's on CDC. Sorry about that. Sorry to break the flow of everything, but it wasn't so strong. We've been having a few earthquakes recently. What the fuck is this on TV? I remember. Wow, I'm just totally fucking up this podcast, but I'm gonna just keep the TV on mute. But I definitely felt the earthquake. I could hear everything rattling around, but yeah. All right, I'll just end that point there, right there. Right. I think you can get what I was saying. Sorry if I didn't. I lost my track of thought anyway. But anyway, next point: choose your friends carefully. This is another important thing. Hmm. Yeah. Again, you heard me allude to it before, that just the people. Remember, your friends and the people you associate with. They're gonna be your cosigns. You heard me talk about this before. They're gonna be your Japanese cosigns. They're also gonna be the people that introduce you to Japanese culture and put you on to shit. And if you got people who don't act a fucking fool, if you're associating with jackasses, birds of a feather fucking flock together. And if you're a jackass, they're gonna take you to jackass places, introduce you to more jackass people, and get you doing jackass shit, which means you won't hit the different levels of Japanese society that you probably want to hit if you really want to have a memorable experience here in Japan. Like, you won't directly miss anything. You'll have a great time, but when you associate with other people who've been in Japan for a long time, and you start swapping stories, and they start telling you about all this shit, and you're like, you might have some, because I've had this, like, where I go and I talk to other foreign people in Japan, and I'm like, yeah, I remember this time, blah, 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 and this person took me here, and this happened, it was so amazing. People are like, really? What? Or, other Japanese people like, wow, you did that? I'm like, yeah, it was great because of this person I know, and blah, 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 blah. And, I've seen, I can't remember exactly who it is, but I feel like I've been in a situation where, like, after a while in the conversation, the foreign person was looking at the other Japanese people. Because I remember, I forgot, we made a party or something, but like, I could tell like one foreign person, one of their best friends was a jackass Japanese person. And we started talking, and I could speak Japanese at that point. Like, not perfectly, but, good enough. And I think the foreign person couldn't speak Japanese, and the Japanese person could speak English. And so, like, it got to a point in the conversation where, you know, like, it's not speaking Japanese is not only your words, but it's your demeanor, and so there's a proper way of doing things. And, um, like, it became apparent, like, I understood the proper way of doing things. And the demeanor of the Japanese person completely changed around me. And we started talking about different things, and then the foreign person was like, "Really? What?" And it was kind of became like this awkward conversation. Like, the person kind of felt like they felt a little bit betrayed by their friend. Like, why aren't you doing this with me? And da, 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 da. And I don't remember the details of the conversation too much, but I just remember that part of the conversation and the atmosphere of it. And the foreign person felt a little bit like betrayed. Like, I thought we were cool, and why don't you do this with me, and why don't you, I could see the wheels kind of turning in their head, like, because I might have like low-key scolded the person a little bit, when they tried to basically play me, like, yo man, and I was just kind of like, yo, why are you coming at me like this, basically, like, we both live in Japan, why are you coming at me like this? And then the person I think that's what it was, and then the person kind of switched up, and it's like, oh, and became really like Japanese around me, and we kind of communicated on that level, and the other person was just kind of out in the cold lost, and it's just like, yeah, dude, like, this is how shit rolls in Japan. People look at you like you're a fucking Herbert if you don't know how to, like, fucking have some decent manners, and but if you're not with people who are willing and want to show you those things, you're not gonna get it, and you're not gonna realize what you're missing until you encounter other foreign people who are doing that, and are having those experiences. I'm not saying like use Japanese people again. Hold on, let me check this fucking thing. Okay, good. Ouch. Oh my gosh. I almost broke off my toe. Okay. I'm not saying like using Japanese people for stuff or whatever, but Japanese people are not gonna put you in a position to embarrass them. They're not gonna take you to a place if they know you might embarrass them. They're not gonna show you something if they know you're not gonna appreciate it. Like, that's kind of the way Japan is. So, learning those type of manners is really, really, really important, especially if you're gonna be in Japan more than a year. That's when you get to the good stuff, So, okay, that's that. Appearance is everything. Is really important. Like, in America, you can have a flip-flop day. You can have, like, so, whatever. In Japan, no. Like, no. Like, I was wearing an old polo shirt in the house, like, the other day. Like, and my wife was like, you got some stains on your shirt. And I was like, I'm wearing this in the house. It was like, I don't know. It was like, I just pulled it out of a drawer from, like, I haven't worn it in, like, maybe 2 years. Because I didn't wear it last summer. And, I guess it had like dust or something. I don't know what the fuck was on it. I couldn't even see what the fuck she was talking about. But she was like, yeah, you got stains on your shirt. I can see them. And I'm like, it's house clothes. Come on, But in Japan, like, those kind of things are important, especially for women. Like, I know one of my buddies, like, him and his wife, who's Japanese, they went to America and then they came back. And she lived in America, I think, like 5-6 years or something like that. And she was having trouble in the beginning readjusting to the eyes on her, people like scrutinizing what she wears and stuff like that, because she's walking to the place with flip-flops and some like tights or whatever the fuck, yoga pants, that's what it is, shit like that. Excuse me. I remember one of my best friends from college came here, like several years ago with with her fiance at the time, and she was like, "Oh my God, everyone here is so dressed up, so nice. What the fuck?" I feel so underdressed, and she felt like really like self conscious for a while because everyone's so well put together, and that's true. Like it does like you just it's this thing you just pick up on it. I mean, you don't have to go out and like buy a whole new wardrobe, but just don't dress like a fucking slob, and shave, do your hair when you go out, like wear shoes and wear shoes. But I mean, it's true. It's fucking true. Like and just follow some of the natural guidelines. Whatever you wear, put some thought into it a bit. It might you might not want to, but it does make an impression. Especially, for example, like if you meet a coworker or you meet some, a student or something like that, and you're looking like all crazy on your day off, like it makes an impression. Like I'm doing online lessons now. I got to fucking shave. I had to apologize to one of my students the other day. I was like, oh, I didn't. I mean, I was shaved, but I didn't like line up my beard exactly, so it looked a little scruffy. My goatee looked a little scruffy, which it kind of does now. But I still got to line up my goatee before I do these lessons, so that I gotta choose my shirt, so that I'm wearing even if I'm wearing a t-shirt, I'm still making sure that I'm not just like in my pajamas, like looking all shave my head, like things like that are really really important here. Appearance is everything, and so just put some thought into it, even on your day off, even when you're going out somewhere. It is important. It does make a difference. um for me, these are a little bit survivalist kind of things. Prepare for the worst in economic things, natural disasters. Your work situation. You're going to want to have a little bit of a nest egg. You're going to want to have some food. You're going to want to have some emergency supplies or emergency bags. Those kind of things. It just helps as peace of mind, especially because you're going to, generally speaking, be far away from your family, be far away from other people that and you're not going to have that comfort or safety net that you normally would. So it's good to be able to put your hands on something if you need to. I know when the big earthquake happened, like me having a stock of food because I was in like an urban survivalist kind of mode. This situation have a little, like this corona situation, have a little bit of money saved up where I can pull out, where I'm not like, living like fuck, kind of situation. Because things, regardless of what industry you're in, things that can life can throw you a curveball like really really quickly, really really soon. And so especially when you don't have like friends or family to lean on or rely on, and there's a language difference and cultural difference and things like that, it's good to have some financial independence or some a food supply chain independence, if you will. So that's one thing I would say, to work on. Go with two more. Go with the flow as much as possible. um, yes, I talked about the ocean carrying you, and as far as the situation, that's what I'm talking about. Just going with the flow, letting things develop at their own natural pace. It just happens, things happen behind the scenes a lot. It might seem like nothing's happening. It is, and then one day it just boom, pop, happens. Like I think, remember if I told you like the stimulus application situation in Japan. Yeah, today my wife was talking to me about it. She's like, yeah, we gotta do this and this. And I was like, okay, yeah, just go ahead and let me know, and then we can do it. And I just let my wife take care of it. Of course, I was itching to get it done earlier, but just letting it develop naturally is kind of how it works, right? It just make your life a lot easier, especially if you're dealing with other people. Just do it that way. When I'm by myself, when it's something that affects me directly, I move on my own and ask people to support me and back me up when I need it. But again, that also goes with the fact that I do have some language ability and I do kind of know what the fuck is going on. But if it's something that affects other people, that I'm doing it with other people, I turn my you know my mode off, and my motor off, and I just let it. You just some shit can be frustrating, but you just gotta let it go and let it develop. Putting your nose in, putting your opinion in is just a lot of times makes the situation so much more complicated than it is. It can be complicated and frustrated on a on the scale from 1 to 10, or it can. But if you try and like push the situation, it could crank it all the way up to like a 9 or a 10 very easily. So I prefer to just deal with a 4 and just say fuck it, it's a 4, than have to deal with a 9 or a 10. So that's what works for me. And the last one, which is kind of piggybacks on the first one, it might sound negative, but compromise as much as you can. That's, compromise as much as, like, of course, not on things that make, don't compromise on who you are, but be willing to compromise on small things, everyday things, because Japan is a group oriented society. Compromise is essential fundamental part of Japanese society, and willingness to compromise is something that you're just going to have to do if you want to advance and get along with here, right? I'm not saying compromise who you are. I'm not, compromise in the West can be seen as a negative thing in a lot of different situations. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, understand that if you want to interact with Japanese people, you're gonna fucking have to compromise a lot of shit, and you're gonna, in some things that you might not like, you're gonna have to compromise on. Some things you might have the instinct to fight on in your home country. If it's not big, if it's not like a deal breaker, just compromise on it, because it'll just make your life a lot easier. It might not sound good, but it's true. If it's like something in work or different other situations, if you do have to complain, or or you need someone to talk to, something that really bothers you, do consult with someone. But I would say you have to choose the person you consult with very carefully. Like, if you're talking to the person who's next to you, who has no power and influence over the situation, you're just alienating yourself, right? Because that person will listen to you. They'll tell you you're right, because they're compromising, listening to you, but they have no power, influence in the situation, so they can't do shit. And so all you're doing is just dumping a lot of negative energy on that person, which they might feel is just like, a burden on them. On the surface, it might seem like they're understanding you, and they might even understand you, but they might feel like it's a burden on them. On the other hand, if you've heard me talk about it in the past, like, find the cosign, find the person in charge, and privately, pull them to the side and tell them, earnestly how you feel about a situation, then those wheels behind the scene can start to work in your favor in sometimes. So that's kind of what I would recommend you do. And right now, off the top of my head, those are kind of the points that I would recommend to help you thrive in Japan. I don't know, whatever. So, but again, if you want to have any other points, any other issues, Rod, Angela, anybody else, questions for Akil, at gmail.com, Japan According to Akil, at Japan According to Akil on IG, and those are the only things I check right now. But yeah, just hit me up, let me anything, I'm an open fucking book. So, alright, y'all, great episode. Thank you all for rocking with me, and I'm going to holler at you next time. Peace.